take that again. I'm calling meeting of the Judiciary Personnel. Order at 6 p.m. We have one item on the agenda. Consider volunteer appointment. And before we kick off, I just wanted to thank everyone for applying. It is a really great list of candidates that we have with a lot of tough choices, but it's really great to see this level of community engagement within the process. So with that, I will open the floor for discussion on this agenda item.
Just for the committee's awareness, in the materials, there's one sheet at your desk with highlights on it. There are some reappointments for the library that were inadvertently left off. And they are, again, reappointments of Anjum Alden, Cara Espera, and Jonathan Schmucker.
Trustee Stokebrand.
Thank you. I'm prepared to make a recommendation. I would like to recommend Bill Meyer instead of, I know President McCaig has recommended Brennan Balistreri to the CDA. I would have to say in my 6 years, Mr. Meyer's background is broad and deep. He clearly spent a lot of time on his application. It's quite detailed, and it's got experience in subsidized and affordable housing, which I think is a piece that we could really use going forward.
You. I can just, just my thoughts. I would prefer to stick with what we have process. I do appreciate Mr. Meyer's background, a real estate investment manager, 30+ years. We really have really good people applying. I know that Mr. Balistreri, long-time connection to Shorewood, experience in commercial and residential real estate. So my inclination is to stick with what we have in the recommended. I do appreciate your perspective.
I'm just, what is the personal, and I didn't see the detail on the application.
Oh, he referenced on his application that he has commercial and residential real estate experience. In addition, I know that he
I do see commercial, I don't see residential.
Oh, maybe my notes were too quick then.
And I didn't know what these groups are, UEDA. I did Google League of Women Voters and ACLU, I guess. It seems very brief, with a lot of depth missing. Even the general interest portion is very brief.
I guess, well, I would agree that you'd like a little bit more. I know he does have real estate experience. You're connected to several organizations within the city and county, and he's coming at the recommendation. Prepared to support it.
Are you ready to?
No, I just wanted to register. I was, and yeah, I would have been happy to support the two previous applicants. I don't, nothing against the applicant that was added. I understand we probably have different views on a number of things, including the development on Oakland and possibly whether to rescind the PID intended for affordable housing. That said, I've never voted against a applicant for policy disagreements. In fact, I've happily supported some that have been critical of me in the past. So, but I just have issue with the process here. Both applicants that were submitted last time were qualified. It seems the reason for delaying and rearranging are based on fairly arbitrary reasons. There's no requirement that we have a set number of applicants for a position. There's no requirement that we have certain allotments based on various factors. So I just wanted to register that. I'm not going to make an issue of that with the full board, but it's hard to have a transparent process when there are arbitrary actions taken to influence that. So I'm happy to proceed as desired. Thank you.
Trustee Stokebrand?
Are you ready for a motion?
I am.
I move to recommend the appointments of Greg Sweda and Bill Meyer to serve on the CDA, Jamie Harris to serve on the Conservation Committee, Mary Armstrong to serve on the Library Board, Dan Simons, as well as the reappointments of Mary Mason, Roger Mason, Rainey Perro, Mary Jorgensen, Sandy Pendleton, Andy Kesmarek, and Kristen Greenman to serve on the Parks and Public Spaces Committee to the Village Board for approval consideration at the June 15, 2026 meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Not have a second, so that motion fails. Do we have any other motion?
I move to recommend the appointments of Greg Sweda and Brennan Balistreri to serve on the Community Development Authority Committee, Jamie Harris to serve on the Conservation Committee, Mary Armstrong to serve on the Library Board, Dan Simmons, as well as the reappointments of Roger Mason, Rainey Pirro, Mary Jorgensen, Sandy Pendleton, Andy Kazmarek, and Kristen Greenman to serve on the Parks and Public Spaces Committee, as well as all slated reappointments to the Village Board for approval consideration at the June 15th, 2026 meeting.
I will second that motion.
One point of clarification, that also includes the reappointments of Anjum Aldam, Cara Spera, Jonathan Schmucker, and Joel Lasate. Correct.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Trustee Stokebrand?
Yeah, I just want to say, I don't see there's anything wrong with trying to get a more robust list of candidates for positions, especially the CDA, because of the village, volunteers are important in every role, but especially the CDA. And I think to go from 2 applicants to 5 is in the best interest of the village.
I think any of those other 3 applicants could have waited for another round. I don't see any reason to put any of them ahead of somebody who put the work in to apply ahead of them, but I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on that.
And I would just go back to my original point, which I just wanted to thank you to all the applicants prior to taking the vote on this. Thank you to all the applicants. It's great to see a lot of applicants. One of the great parts of this community is the level of involvement and level of sheer talent that we have fulfilling these positions. So I want to thank everyone for applying. It's really great to see a lot of interest in serving on village committees and involvement. So with that, do we have any more discussion?
No, I just want to note that I do support all the other volunteers. I'll be voting no, just specifically because of the CDA situation.
You? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 2-1. With that, I think that wraps up our very brief agenda tonight. So I will entertain a trustee
I
Stoker.
move to adjourn.
Seconded. To adjourn. Second, any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 6:14. Thank you, everyone.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the Committee of the Whole to order at 6:35 p.m. We have one item on our agenda this evening, and which is looking at the 2027 initiatives. All of those are linked within our packet in a PowerPoint, which Village Manager is going to pull up. I noticed that we have the esteemed Judge Kirchner with us this evening, and I'm wondering if we should just take that initiative first so that you can, I don't know, village managers at the end. You, sir? Okay, you're in for the whole thing. All right, so what I'd like to do you want to use the PowerPoint? Oh, okay. Okay.
But does everyone have?
Yep.
Yeah, so if you can pull it
Follow along
up and we can follow along, all the initiatives are hyperlinked under the entity that submitted them. What I'd like to do is walk through each section and just touch on if there are questions, get input from staff, and then sort of do a temperature read up, down, and keep moving. So we have an hour. All right, Design Review Board. Are there any questions off the top?
So to be clear, just to be clear on process, if
Mhm.
we have no questions, it remains, it follows the path that's outlined in the packet.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well, definitely, I would say open it up for questions for clarification purposes, any staff input that they would like to add, and then I'll do a temperature check to just,
I guess my question, I mean, was there anything that prompted this or of note or?
Bart, I see Bart is on the line. Bart, do you want to come off mute? There you go.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is a question that they ask of themselves every so often in terms of, is this really what, the board wants us to be looking at? And so they just, out of their due diligence, I've never done it in my 8 years here. I will admit that administratively, we do not follow the code, to the fine tooth detail. And so over the years, certain things they've just kind of said, we don't need to see these anymore. We're just going to approve it if you bring it to us, et cetera. So I did a poll of them last year with respect to like the full scope of what they wanted to look at. And there were several things that they thought they didn't need to look at anymore. There also might be things that you think they are looking at that they're not looking at. So this really was just an opportunity for them. I gave them the opportunity to submit an initiative, and they said that this would be the one that they would, like to reconfirm with the board. We're not sure the last time this happened. And so I don't think it'd be a heavy lift in terms of what their perspective is, but I do think it would involve community involvement or input as to what, residents and neighbors want to see. And then ultimately it would be a discussion of the board to confirm what level of review you want. But there was nothing that's, prompted this, other than just the opportunity to look at it.
yeah. Bart, you identify 60 hours as the total time estimate for this, and it looks like it's just kind of going through and updating. It sounds like a good initiative to pursue. No questions from me.
all right, temperature read.
I know there's other things that, like, for example, Parks seeks to update. I mean, one of the things was, can you play, according to our code, you can't play basketball in an alley, right? So that's one of the things, I guess. Is that how municipalities update their codes to make them more, is it always piecemeal? And this is that group saying, we'd like to review everything in the village code that applies to design review, or? And I don't know.
The ordinance that guides their function.
Correct. So yeah, they have a very specific section of the zoning code that says this is what the board is supposed to see. And so they just want to confirm that section of the code. We have done larger chunks. When we had the commercial zoning code, we definitely reconfirmed what they want to see commercially. This would be more so for residential purposes, which once again, in my time, we've not done. Yeah, so you could do larger code sections, but they really they wanted to focus on this very specific one with respect to what their duties are to make sure that they're in line with, what the board and the community is looking for.
And so is this something that we wouldn't need to hire an outside attorney for? It was something that
Correct.
could be done all in-house.
Correct.
Correct. Yep. It would just involve community engagement. And so that was the reason why I think it rose to the level of initiative as opposed to just a staff assignment.
And I guess then I would were there other from your department in terms of if we were looking for, I see Plan Commission has some initiatives, and I believe your department does too. So, I guess that's the question is, Plan Commission has some also, which Bart is involved in. So does his department and then this. So at what point do you say, well, how much can we expect you to do in 1 year? Would you prioritize for you personally? Because you're involved in all of the, 7 items?
I might defer to Becky on that, but my understanding is tonight is just kind of a temperature read of which ones to further discuss. And so if after tonight, I was assigned 4 of them, I'd probably discuss with Becky, how that would work in my schedule, or if I couldn't do all 4 or whatever. But my understanding is, we would have that discussion after this particular one where we hear your perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that reminder. So yeah, I think it's like, tonight is all things being equal. If money were no issue, time were no issue, is this something we would support at this time? And if not, why is that? And then we note it and move on. All right, so just temperature read on support for this, thumbs up, thumbs down. All right. I think that's thumbs up. So we'll continue on to the Conservation Committee. There are 7 proposals, initiatives. Is there anything you'd like to add, Trustee McGovern as liaison?
I would just point out that most of them are from the committee itself, like they would be the ones doing the work, and it's not staff time, it's not a budget item, seems more like for planning and getting work done that they would then bring to staff or the board.
And that would be correct. So conservation actually has 2 slides. Conservation Committee submitted them all under initiatives, but I've classified the ones that they
Oh,
actually do the work
tasks.
for as
Yeah.
tasks.
Mhm.
And we encourage committees to do that because sometimes they don't know where to place them or how to do it. And I also think it's a good communication tool to the board because conservation does a lot of heavy lifting and they do it with the people that they have in their group. So it has minimal impact on staff and they focus their efforts. So these 7 things that are listed under tasks are those that they're proposing to take on and complete themselves.
So in this regard, really the village board, this is for information.
Information.
And if any of us, if the board had a real concern about one and
Mhm.
wanted more information or something like that, but we wouldn't
Correct.
necessarily say, no, you can't do that.
Correct. And know that in advance, I do go through them from that perspective and for those that are initiatives, or if I have if some comment or perspective, I would be sharing it or have done so already on the slides.
Mhm. Yes.
Can I ask a quick question on one of the Conservation Committee?
Mhm.
Maybe this is for you, Trustee McGovern, I'm not quite sure, but the internal combustion engine reduction, this might be predate my time, second time on the board, but what is the rebate program there?
They got funding from the Shorewood Foundation to, if you turn in your gas-powered leaf blower, you get a $100 rebate, and then they've expanded that now to lawnmowers as well. So if you want to switch to an electric, either leaf blower or lawnmower, you get some money from the Shorewood Foundation to help pay for it.
And my understanding is that if we want to switch to slide 2, which are the initiatives,
Mhm.
specifically with Electrify Shorewood, they're coming towards the end of the amount that was donated for that rebate opportunity. And so they are looking to perhaps do another round of the program, but also expand it to not only apply to leaf blowers, but other electrically charged yard equipment.
So just to be clear, we're focusing on internal combustion. For instance, I have an electric leaf. That's not covered by the program, nor is it something.
Right, it's to replace gas-powered
Mhm.
appliances or lawn equipment with private funds.
Can't turn in your electric.
Okay.
I'm just asking a
So-
question.
Yeah.
But please let us know if you try. We'd love to see how that comes out.
Trying to
Focusing
understand the
in on, so they're recommending that the ban on leaf blowers is no longer recommended because enforcement is.
So last year,
Yeah.
I had this conversation with Aaron Povak, who's the chair of conservation. I am not recommending that we pass an ordinance saying that we're going to ban leaf blowers because we can't find a practical way to enforce that. I do, however, always, because I am always looking if I'm in a discussion group with someone like this, like, have you done anything different or new? But essentially that would not functionally change because we're not going to deploy public safety services and have that be any level of a priority at all.
Mhm.
A lot of this is also targeted, and I think the conservation committee members know that it's also a lot of large landscapers who will come in with a whole truck of equipment. So, you know, I'm always interested in learning more about what can occur with those types of avenues, but would not be supportive of um, modifying an ordinance that we
Mhm.
can't functionally.
All right, so with that, support, for general support for the two initiatives from the Conservation Committee? Okay,
Thumbs up.
thank you. Elder Services Advisory Board, I think this is an initiative that we are already familiar with as they have a contract, so I'm not sure that we would pivot at this point, but it's good to have it documented. Parks and Open Spaces Committee, their task would be to pursue the gold level bicycle-friendly community.
My understanding is that that has no policy or budgetary impacts and that this application is completed by members of the committee and merely just submitted to the village.
All right. Atwater Concept Implementation Plan, this is recommended for approval by staff.
I guess the question I have, now, would the cost for this initiative and the River Park initiative be recognized when? Would that be next year? Would that be part of next year's budget or the following year?
2027,
2027?
correct. So this is one of those initiatives because there's a budgetary component. You provide me with general direction and then we would insert that within the budget, but there's been plenty of things that have been inserted in the budget in the past that have been removed through the budgetary process, so they don't technically move forward until after close of the budget, which would be mid-November.
Okay.
I am new to the Art Shorewood.
Oh,
What does that have? The outward. So I don't know. Rest of parks.
Actually, it's been something that's been on our website now for a little bit of time. It'd be then the promotion of this. And this was an outcome of where we were after we completed the Friends contribution policy as well as the donation policy and clarified those rules. We then stood up a web page on the site called #Art Shorewood that would allow people to donate to pay for the new benches perhaps in Hubbard Park. We identify a map with specific locations, give them the number of characters that they can place on in memory or, you know, whatever language they propose on the particular bench and really can just pay for it online. And then we'll contact them to arrange for installation. So we started small with that, but the idea here is to use that platform and grow the concept to really educate the community about the needs within our public spaces, but more importantly, do so in an organized fashion so that we're, as a policy group, setting forth what our greatest needs are and letting people know what they are so that they can contribute towards making them happen moving forward. So for the purposes of Atwater Park, one of the topics that actually came up in the last budget discussion is, you know, we had a circulation plan done for that area, which was my humble perspective, it was very well done. But it's expensive. And among the competing needs that you have fiscally as a board, doing some of those activities may not be prioritized above core service levels. And you know, one of the things that I think we need to acknowledge is that we as a group have never communicated, since we've been together here as a group, have really been clear about what our needs are and where people could provide a contribution to the community. And people look to do that all the time. So I've always found that when you're clear and people know what the expectations are and know what to anticipate, people are more apt to support you in different ways. So the #Heart Shorewood has that type of platform with it. You'll see this come up under my initiatives in the village manager's office, because if you've probably heard me talk about it initially. We're going to be having a group of Marquette students come in and work on actually standing up more of a platform for that discussion online to give us that feedback and ways of how to provide that presence and make it easy and communicate it to the community.
I guess, having seen that Atwater circulation plan, I think the price tag was 300 or 400. It would be important to have the Parks Committee involved in the prioritization of those.
I'm
know-
so happy that you asked that question. So part of the thing that the Marquette students will be working on, not only with Parks and Public Spaces, but with the board and the curriculum that we've designed, is working through that process. Because the Park and Open Space Plan has not been prioritized. They have general priorities, but we want to get we want to get their input. We also want to get community input and bring some of that feedback to the board so that you actually, as the village board, set the agenda and what the focus of that first campaign.
I guess what I'm trying to say more specifically is, for example, the pavers are in really good shape. Leanne doesn't like the bunker, but it's the bunker in my neighborhood. The bunker is in. If that will happen at this level, right, where we decide, snow removal is not happening at the Atwater because the blade can't blade it out because it's so uneven. And it's also a trip hazard. Could we just do, like, if we do the engineering for that now, could we do the most important part, which is pavement? And then look at, honestly, there was a lot of really beautiful, but in my view, almost unnecessary amenities that were part of that, and they're, like the retaining walls on each. I would look forward to some prioritization there for money. What you want to take a donation. I don't think we should just put out there and say, a park bench, sure, but start taking money for like the wash day.
Couldn't agree with you more. And so that is what that prioritization process would be, that you, as well as the community and person, that's what everyone would be involved in. And we would be having them lead that throughout the process. And of course, they'd be working through our office. So would be
Well, the
engaged.
parks to look forward to that. And so this would be like phase one engineering. I guess that's why should we pay for engineering walls?
So this was actually put forth by the Parks and Open Space Committee. This was their request from,
It was developed by staff.
I did not do this as a
But
part
I'm
of the
saying Leanne
art
put it
hash.
together.
No, I got this from the chair.
Right,
Oh, okay.
but Leanne put.
Okay, for the purposes of this evening, I think what we're seeing here is staff is recommending that we approve this. It can be either included or not included in the budget. For the purposes of this evening, I would like to hear from a thumbs up, thumbs down in terms of these three initiatives on this slide. I recommend approval for to move forward with the Atwater concept plan, recommend to defer to 2028, the other two, because they are in coordination with other initiatives that make sense. So general support for that. All right, moving on to the next slide. There are three: deterring reckless driving signage, proper school zone identification, rational recreational rules. I'll just say off the bat that I'm not supportive of reckless driving signage. So if it comes, I'm not gonna,
It was tabled indefinitely.
okay. So general support for the proper school zone identification. And rational recreational rules.
Are you taking for each
Yeah.
one? Are you looking for a?
Mhm. Okay,
So which one was that? I'm sorry, which one
School
was?
zone?
So can we just start at the top with deterring and reckless driving?
Oh, sure. It was tabled indefinitely this evening.
Okay, so is that a no?
We
Okay.
would
So
not
can
move
action
forward.
be taken outside of the committee? Item of future consideration.
Well, that's why I'm just kind of interested in the board. Like if this is not something to
Yeah,
move
I'm not
forward with, then
interested in it.
I mean, what was the discussion?
Basically, bas- basically the discussion was that we thought, one, enough information had been given to the public regarding our ability to tow vehicles for persons that were driving recklessly. Two, we frankly don't, because Chief Worth explained to us that because reckless driving is fairly difficult to prove, that there
It's
are
what?
that reckless driving is fairly difficult to prove in the court of law. And Chief is here, so if I'm paraphrasing incorrectly, please correct me. That we frankly don't issue that many reckless driving tickets, and that there are other deterrents on the way to enforcing with towing. Two, that this was an unnecessary budget item, and I should say that for number one, the chief spoke against the signage. This was an unnecessary budget item, and that I believe the chair and I, Arthur, although he wasn't able to be here, but based on past comments, I believe that we or both believe that if you're driving recklessly, a sign's not going to stop you. I mean, it's not as though you're paying attention to the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, but then driving recklessly. If that occurred and people actually followed signs because they existed, then great. Or if they were part of our need to, that you had to post it in order for people to break the rule, but that's also not the case. So we just didn't find it necessary and moved to table it, and it was tabled indefinitely.
So why do we not want this signage about a school zone?
I don't think we,
Oh, no, I just
Oh,
wanted to hear
yeah.
from on each of them individually, just because wasn't sure.
proper school zone
Yeah.
is their support for that.
Okay, so we are on our way to getting signage about towing in the village though, because I've heard complaints about parking lot on North Oakland. People are parking there and there are no signs that indicate that cars will be towed.
So
That-
towing
That's
wasn't a
outside of this
part-
discussion.
Yeah, towing, from my reading of.
That particular item was not discussed in committee.
So is there just a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Oh, thumbs down.
Yeah,
Thumbs,
I think we're.
okay.
Okay, 2 and 4.
Next, then proper school identification.
It's a thumbs up.
Rational recreational rules.
This is, I don't know. It says as time allows, so that seems manageable. In general, I think it's a can of worms, so I can't say whether I would approve any changes that came to us, but if in general people are supportive of just going at the rate we're going.
I mean,
Yeah.
This just seems like a solution without a problem.
Mhm.
So I would not be in favor of taking this up as an initiative. Regardless of how
So-
many dads and sons are playing basketball in the alley.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said regardless of how many dads and sons are playing basketball in the alley, as outlined in the request.
I like the Wayne's World approach. Like you just play and then you say car, you get out of the street
It's worked for decades.
until it doesn't, and then, right. All right, so at other, thumbs up or thumbs down on pursuing rational recreational rules? I'm a thumbs
Well, it was
down.
approved in 26, so then
Yeah, I feel comfortable pivoting.
I just don't like the sorry, just to jump in, I don't like the mismatch between our code and what's permitted and what's actually happening. Of
Okay,
the lawyer and me.
yeah,
Oh, hey,
okay.
you get a thumb vote. just
What
like
are
the rest
you?
of us.
it's another opportunity
Okay.
to change every he to
3-3.
a they.
3-3.
So does that,
Traffic safety cameras at crosswalks. This is not recommended support.
I would like more information on this one. I mean, we have some crosswalks that are at very busy intersections along some of our major thoroughfares within the village. So, I understand that, issuance of citations in certain circumstances is not permitted in Wisconsin. But I'd like to know a little bit more before we table this, because I personally would like to see those intersections made safer. I think this is a good initiative. And, if we can't do it, we can't. And if it doesn't provide value, it doesn't. But I don't know that I want to stop it at this. So I will, I guess, be thumbs downing a not recommended, which is a lot of negatives, but I'd prefer that we continue to look.
Sounds like you'd be thumbs up.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
my thumbs up the not recommending, or the thumbs.
Your thumbs up that you'd like more information at least.
Okay,
You are thumbs down on the not recommended portion from staff or from the committee, but you are thumbs up on the general support for exploring this further.
Good distinction. You should be chairing
that's
this meeting.
let
I
the
see.
record reflect.
So you
I'm voting on this one.
Okay. Other input on this? Yes.
I think that the nuance might be that traffic red light cameras are outlawed in Wisconsin, and this is not what being sought.
Chief, my understanding, when we spoke about this, is that cameras were not allowed at traffic lights, but which is what led to the recommendation.
But is that just for red light purposes?
That's what Milwaukee went to the legislature for, right? They were trying to, and that did not pass.
So just for the microphone purposes, that's why it was listed in here as not recommended, because it wasn't permitted or something we would be able to consider, because it is not. Well,
I guess I just feel like I need more information on what is not currently. Is there any value that? Because I'm just not comfortable saying now that these cameras would not provide any whatsoever.
I mean, I agree with you. I would, if it came down to it, I would be probably in favor of it. It's just that they're not legal. So we would have to change state law in order for them to be legal, in order for us, at least from my perspective, for it to be logical for us to explore. So what I would say is, I mean, this is just one, these are not just initiatives, but these are initiatives we can add to them whenever we want. And should the law change, I would be recommending, at least to Public Works, that this be an item of future consideration. And we could go about it that way.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Trying to, obviously we can't state law here, but I do think that this is a good initiative. I think that this bears keeping watch on. We have a high percentage of these crosswalks that are really kind of high vehicle traffic areas. So I want to do whatever we can, those intersections safer and slower. So I guess maybe it's just a hope that there's some way that we can make this work, but I'm hearing that this is just kind of a black and white. You can't do this.
Right. That's where we're at.
So, but I mean, I have some information that, like you can put a camera on a school bus, or, so I guess I'm confused about the nuance of the law, and I'd like to be able to sit down with the chief at a bike ped safety.
I guess, and I'm in the same, like, I understand, I would just like to understand more, I guess. I appreciate that the state law doesn't allow us to do this, but I at least like, just be a little bit better educated on where the parameters are.
Okay, what I'm going to say for the purposes of time is if we could have this, we'll table this for now. And if you could do a summary or memo or something, or summary of previous discussions, if it's not already in this initiative as it is, and include it in a Friday update.
Or
Which I
otherwise-
believe we have, because you've reported on it. But I
That's what I thought
apologize,
too.
Heather, for keeping a look at you, but I believe you already have a memo on it or something,
Correct. It was tabled indefinitely at Parks and Public Spaces because it is not illegal in the state of, it is not legal in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay,
So
that's why.
Okay.
with
Okay.
Parks and Public Spaces initiative, they tabled it indefinitely.
Okay. So,
And if I could just speak to the
Yes.
cameras on school buses, they're not stationary. So stationary posted cameras at intersections for enforcement actions are not legal.
so I'm going to ask
And
oh,
the cameras that, if there are cameras installed on school buses that capture events, they still have to be investigated.
So could the crossing guard be wearing the camera?
we are out of, I'm going to say we're out of scope. I really appreciate you being willing to go into this, but since it was,
Correct.
I
Sorry.
think what we need to do is provide the information to the board that has already been covered in other
Apologies.
places. No. And then if we need to have further discussion, I'll put it on an agenda item, but we have a lot of initiatives.
Yeah,
to get
let's,
through.
yeah, just
Okay.
get that information.
All right. Um,
Next is paint walk your bike on sidewalks. This was also brought last year and was not something that the village elected to pursue. It was brought forth again. And just a thought would be potentially recommending it to be funded by the bid. Because many of the decals that are being discussed are in the business.
I would direct it that way. This point. General support for the redirect to the bid. Myself, yep, that's a thumbs up to redirect. Enhanced penalties for sidewalk snow removal, review ordinance, hold public meeting, propose revisions. Is this being supported by staff that is?
It, don't really have a position on this.
Mhm.
I don't know if people are gonna, I don't know.
Mhm.
I guess my question is, what's baseline enforcement like currently?
12 hours.
Enforcement though, I mean, like how many notices do we issue for?
It's a- Yeah. Oh,
I broke it.
Mic drop.
Yeah. So,
Thank goodness we have a maintenance
complaints usually
department.
come to the PD, PD takes complaints, PD goes to the door, says, hey, puts something on it saying, hey, you have 24 hours or 12 hours to clear that. If there's no response to that, PD sends it to me, I clear and bill. So I think this year I did 4, maybe 5. I cleared 4 or 5 properties this year. It's random. I think one year I did 0, one year I did 2. So it's not a lot.
yes.
I think that's good to hear. My concern would be, I don't want to be overly, we need to have our sidewalk. We're a walkable community. We pride ourselves on that, but you also don't want to be overly punitive when somebody, I noticed repeat offender, 24 months, put on the property tax bill. You don't want to go too far. If somebody fails to clear within 12 hours can be a kind of tough, people going to work and then getting back home. And theoretically, if the snow stopped at the right or wrong time, you might be getting
Correct.
close to that window. So it's good to hear it's good for a lot of reasons that we're not getting a lot of calls. I would just be, and I do support kind of looking at this, but I don't want to get too punitive.
I also check the weather, and if I'm going to get snow in the next 6-8 hours, let it go. Like, I'm not super crazy about it just because it's a lot of time on our end to deal with it. And on top of that, like, if it's going to snow again, to get another chance, it starts over.
I guess the question is, how many calls does the police department get about snow on the sidewalks? Because that's the first point, right? And then they go to you. So
Yeah.
do we have,
This-
do we
this-
know how many we get?
The spreadsheet I get when it's properties that I have to deal with, sometimes there could be a dozen on there, and there's a lot of people that comply with it at that point. Or they go out, PD goes out to look at it, and it's already been cleared. By the time it is, they get the complaint, PD goes, looks, it's already been cleared. So, a fair amount.
I mean, like one snow season, I guess that's the data how many
Yeah.
calls do the police get and how sidewalks.
Yeah, I can, this year I did 4. Yeah, we can provide that.
All right, so I would say I don't think this is a high priority, based on the limited discussion. Other opinions?
We walk a lot. My
Mhm.
neighborhood is all walking and people complain a lot. I've actually gotten 2 notices myself. I think it's good to look at.
Okay, others? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm just gonna go down because I think 4 in a whole village of 13,000 people is not that many.
This desk? Okay. We'll not move ahead with this one.
I mean, I don't think increased penalties are going to drive the behavior that's
Mm.
desired.
All right, Plan Commission initiatives, 5-year comprehensive plan review is recommended approval by staff. Design criteria for zoning petitions, recommend approval. Update home occupation regulations, recommend approval. Update zoning amendment notice requirements, recommend approval. So,
So we're gonna do it each one.
yeah, so 5-year comprehensive, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Is this, I'm sorry, was this, there's a consultant fee on this?
So, is it showing one?
Oh, I'm for it now.
It was just a review, not
Yeah, it
a,
was just a
we're
look
not
at. Oh,
reviewing.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I missed
Okay.
that.
thumbs up for that. Design criteria for zoning petitions, thumbs up for that. All right, update home occupation regulations, thumbs up. Update zoning amendment notice requirements, thumbs up. All right, support for all those. For the police commission, succession planning for police commission president, recommend approval. I do as well. Support. Public art committee, these are tasks. So unless there's concern that you want to voice at this point for further information at a later date, we will support those. For the village board, owner occupied senior housing, trustee McGovern.
Yeah, I put this one forward based on a couple things. One is the 2020 housing study, which identified a shortage of owner occupied senior housing in Shorewood. And I attended 2 League of Wisconsin Municipalities conferences last year where they highlighted senior housing development in Reedsburg, Wisconsin, that had a mix of duplexes that were owner occupied and apartment buildings that were rentals. And they had identified it as a priority to free up some of their single family homes that were occupied by empty nesters in an attempt to try to, open up more single family homes to young families with kids. And, we kind of see the same need for that here in Shorewood. And the second thing I saw was a study that Redfin had done of census data showing that about, I believe it was 28% of the large single family homes in the country are owned by empty nesters, and millennials only own about 16%. So there's kind of a mismatch. But I just decided to put forward this initiative to direct the CDA to look at whether it would be feasible to do something like develop something in Shorewood for our seniors who, just give people more options. Seniors who may be looking to downsize, to help increase the availability of housing for seniors and maybe for families with children as well.
Thank you for putting that together. I would support this. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. 5-1. Native land recognition on park signage. I submitted this. I'm asking that village manager or assistant village manager work with UWM, their Native Indigenous Studies Department, on getting the appropriate language so that we have bilingual signage in the parks. So it would be a small sign that's affixed to the current signage. I'm not recommending that we redo the whole sign for each park. And so that's what I'm recommending and would like your support. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All right, 5-1. Notification requirements for residential swimming pools. Who would you like to speak to this?
Yeah, it was brought to my attention. I'm sure we've all gotten some of the emails. A pool was put in next to someone's house, and it seems to me, because of the safety concern, it would be a good idea to send notification to neighbors about something coming in that could potentially be a bigger hazard than perhaps a yard set or something like that. I mean, I know there's a fence requirement, but this was something that was brought up to me by a resident, and I know we've had one drowning in the village since I lived here. It was at the lake, but it's a pretty scary situation. And if there's anything that can be done, I think, especially if you're in a neighborhood and you have children, it's your house and you find out a pool is going in next door, the heads up is good. I'd like to think everyone lives next to neighbors and everything is neighborly. But I know that's not always the case. And so a requirement for a notification seems to me like not a big ask.
All right, thumbs up, thumbs down. Looks like 3-3. Bubbler stations, this is also, I met with the bubbler director. They're changing their model to utilize more, not so much asking the municipality for funding, but looking for partnerships to make stations available. The technology's changed. So I would, this is in the spirit of being open to partnership options that could bring bubbler bike stations back to Shorewood and be connected to the UWM and perhaps west on Capitol. Yes.
Yeah, I would be supportive of it. Going off what you're saying, that the model has changed. There are reasons why this would work where it didn't work. I think it'd be nice to bring this back to Shorewood. I remember when we had it taken out. You lose a way to get around transportation. So, I think for further exploration.
Thanks. Thumbs up, thumbs down. 5-1. Library, butterfly. Yeah, somebody's grumpy tonight.
So a
The
yes
year-
to scooters and a no to
miserably-
bikes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I don't want to,
We're not paying for the scooters. Last time we had to pay for the bikes.
we won't pay for the bikes.
We'll see.
Well, we wouldn't,
We'll see. We're exploring it, right?
yes,
We'll find out.
exactly. You'd get to vote then. So
I do.
butterfly outdoor musical instrument at the library. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
It would depend on, I wouldn't, as long as it was paid for by donation.
Yes, it is.
Mhm. All right.
The next one is also
Support.
paid for by.
Story walk at Hubbard Park. All right. Library SRC, review of community meeting space. This seems like a positive, low impact. Yep. Planning and development, Public Works, safe streets and roads for all, Capitol Drive. So these are the things that had budgetary impact that we held for this year. And so now asking for whether there's support.
So am I reading this correctly? The local match is $360,000?
Yes.
All right. So
And this would be in the 2027 budget.
Bart, I don't have the initiative up in front of me, but could you just refresh our memory in the
just-
year?
Yeah, I don't have it either. My memory is though that's the full amount, including construction. For design, I believe it'd be capped at 60,000. And so obviously the first thing we need to do is the design. And so if this passes, we would bring forward a budget request for the design portion of the project. And then based on what is designed and what can be implemented, I believe the full amount could probably come down. So once again, the county submitted a pretty broad, large request for what could be done on capital. At that time, though, we had talked with the DOT and there were a lot of things that, and we ourselves had explored many of them as the village, so yes, the full total amount based on what was granted would be 360, but I believe the design portion would be capped at 60. And I don't even know if that would fully be needed, but that's just based on the full amount that was awarded by the federal government.
And I guess just for context, I mean, did this come out of some of the work we did in terms of examining safety options for capital? Okay.
Mhm.
So this stems from the municipal action plan that once again was part of the county's larger initiative. Capitol Drive was identified as a corridor of concern in both Milwaukee and Shorewood. And so they submitted a contiguous stretch of Capitol Drive, I believe from Maryland Avenue and Shorewood beyond perhaps to Humboldt or even further west on Capitol in the city of Milwaukee. So this was part of the larger countywide effort that then they submitted individual projects in multiple communities to address. And so this is part of that project.
So yeah, it's a staggering matching sum, but it's noted here that it could be split over 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So,
It makes
yeah.
Capitol Drive safer.
Yeah,
This
that's
is supposed to be the way to do it with infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would support. Oh, Dan? Do you want to say anything? Oh, no, okay. So it looks like we're in support of that. Right. And now I've somehow closed that page. Oh, I figured out how to use that. Village Manager's Office. Oh, no. We skipped. Police Department, mobile parking meter payment system. So any questions about this? Support, thumbs up, thumbs down? Thumbs up?
Haven't we already done this?
We have discussed it as a board. It's reaffirming.
I guess
And also it's a good placeholder. It's good to know placeholder wise.
Oh, wait, parking meter payment
Mhm.
system?
Paid parking.
I'm a thumbs down as well. I just think that this is not the time to explore it.
This would be exploring it in 2027 for potential implementation in 2028.
I just feel like I'm not at that point in the discussion here, and I feel like this keeps coming back, and I've opposed it multiple times, and
Okay.
I'm gonna thumbs down it here as well.
I'll never support
Right.
this. So
Okay, so it failed.
Okay, so no.
Oh, yes, it's a no. Public Works Department, the Capitol Drive, Wistop project. How is this different than I should know this because the initiatives make this very clear. Yep. Why don't you give one? Help us out.
This is for like the 2023 ADA ramps that DOT got money for, so they're going to come in and replace those. So I think for next year, it's like designing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Thumbs up?
So
We're
this is
affirming.
for capital?
Yeah. And then the critical infrastructure plan, storm sewer rehabilitation. We've had a presentation on this, and so looking for affirmation. I support.
I guess I need to see where in the long range plan.
Mhm.
It,
I mean, I
this,
certainly it needs to be done,
I think it's in the plan, yeah.
but I don't see us doing this till the streetlights are done.
Noted. I would support keeping it as an initiative for whatever's recommended, and then we'll deal with it in the budget. Or the long range plan when it comes back to us. Village Manager's Office, Hart Shorewood, we had a mini presentation earlier in the meeting. I support this as an intern project. No reason not to.
We don't have to pay them, right?
correct.
But what, I mean, I'm just wondering about the staff time working with intern.
It'll be my office.
Right.
Right. And
Yep.
they're recommending approval, so they must be okay.
We designed the curriculum.
All right. So support for that? Nope. Yep.
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Coastal assessment of Atwater groins. Recommend approval, budget funds required. Support.
I'd like to see it tabled. We have, another study of something we can't afford to do
Mhm.
right now.
4-2. Consider consolidation with North Shore Municipal Court. So this is based on the study that was returned to us that,
Correct. So the North Shore engaged the innovation grant to do an analysis of what it would look like to consolidate for municipal court services. So if the board went forward with this, you would need to take a look at it sometime in before October of 2027. So if you want to just explore that avenue, you can do that. Then I'd plan it into your schedule for next year. But if you don't, then you don't.
all right, so I assume everybody's had time to review this. Judge Kirchner, is there anything that you'd like to share?
So as far as the initiative of, looking at it further, I take no position on that at all. That's obviously the trustees, not my job. But as far as the consolidation, the report, first of all, I was not interviewed for the report. I don't know if other judges were. It seems very, very focused on potential cost savings. And I think the court here runs pretty bare bones tight ship. So I don't know that, that would be something that I'd want the trustees to really look at the numbers to see if Shorewood would really save money in the long run. But I also want the trustees to think about the purpose of a local court, which the report does not consider or discuss at all, which is that local justice depends on the community itself. So if you end up with a judge from Glendale, for instance, running the municipal court, that judge may have a very different perspective than someone from Shorewood, and the Shorewood voters might not be able to vote that person out of office based on population. And so I would really want in the study, I would like to be, have the trustees talk to me about it, talk to court clerk Judy Colbert about it, talk to other judges in other municipalities about it, and really think about what the purpose of a local court is. And it's not, even if it's financially comparable, is the concept of local justice going to be lost if there's some consolidation?
Thank you. Yes,
I think that in the interest of time, I'll just say I'll be a thumbs down on this one. I think that's well put, and I agree. Trying to save time again since we got 4 minutes left.
I would like to review the study, but if it's not the will of the board at this time, it can come back next year. So thumbs up, thumbs
So
down?
is the study done?
Yes. Okay. Not this year. Okay, in quick succession. Wait, where are we? That was the last one, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, next is lead service line plan and finance plan. Support? No support? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Well, we're on our way. New public works facility, location determined, assigned completion. We got to finish this list. Yep.
Voting down.
We didn't want to be here, but we are.
I'm concerned about the timing, but I'm in favor of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Update court enforcement procedures for habitual offenders. This is just the name.
Yeah, so we have we have a small number of habitual offenders, they take up an inordinate amount of time. And there's been no reconciling of their issues for years, and I don't want to spend time on them
Mhm.
because it's a waste of our time.
Mhm.
So I just want to bring this couple to the board, couple that we have to the board, get your policy direction, clarification on it and move forward because it's not worth the village's time.
Thumbs up.
So
Thank you.
it's typically a building code.
We'll find out more.
Yes.
Update Vision 2025 plan.
So this has been deferred for the last couple of years. And actually, I think that's worked really
Yeah.
well for you as a group. Because your lead service line and the funding that's associated that will drive the next 20 years of really what your availability is to do other things. And so we're going to be finishing that LSL plan this year, or pardon me, in time for implementation, starting in 2027, which is when we're required to have it completed. But then there's a financial component to that. The biggest disconnect in your last plan, while it's a great brainstorm of activity and things that you may want to do, it is not grounded in any type of financial wherewithal to do it. And so we have to match those two. And the lead, while I'm saying lead service line drives most of that, one of the things that I really give this team and this board a lot of credit for is that we have now inherited and have also redeployed on some of our most critical infrastructure pieces. So we know better now. So we need to set up, the next group for success. But in doing that, we also need to have a combined vision, because if you don't have a combined vision, you are doing a disservice to the future boards before you. So,
We'd be entering uncharted.
well,
what
you
did
wouldn't
you
be
say?
doing, in my perspective, you wouldn't be doing it in a fiscally responsive way. When boards work really effectively, they know very clearly what their top priorities are. And you as a group have known clearly. And this is what this process does. It gets you clear in terms of what we're going to work on and what may have value to work on, but may not be appropriate in the current year that you're in. And I think this helps, provide that clarity and expectation for the next 5 or 10 years. Knowing that landscape will likely change. I anticipate it to change with LSL. My feeling only, just because I think that the lift is going to be too burdensome, I think, for some smaller communities like ours. But I don't make those decisions, right? That's coming from a national level. But we need to be agile, but more importantly, as a group, you need to be really focused on what your top priorities are. Because when you try to do everything in the kitchen sink, we end up like some of our neighbors who have like 12 or 15 unfinished projects in their basement. Or attic.
So support, not support. All right, thank you. And we just went a few minutes over. So next steps on the initiatives, pretty self-explanatory. With that, I would like to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Warren Kudo, any objections? We are adjourned at 7:35. If possible, I'd like to roll right into the business meeting.
Oh.
All right. Do we need to do any technical changes? All right. So, welcome everyone. I would like to convene the village board for our business meeting this evening at 7:35. All trustees are present except for trustee Ursing, who is excused. Has this meeting been publicly noticed?
The meeting has been properly noticed and posted according to law.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time, talent, and patience in advance as we conduct business. We do not have any items under special order of business this evening, so we'll proceed to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Warren, seconded by trustee Arndorfer. Any discussion? Yes.
Well, item F is in France.
All right, any others? All right, all those in favor of the consent agenda with the exception of 5F, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, we will look at 5F, consider RFP for Shorewood Today magazine. This item was addressed by the editorial board, stakeholder board, and it comes to you for approval this evening. Trustee Stokebrand.
Yeah, I just wanted to see, was there a discussion about possibly increasing the advertising ratio?
Was unanimous. No, I'll let you, because you actually were in the room, so I was zooming.
Yes, the points that were brought up at the last village board meeting were shared with the editorial team. It was their perspective that they were comfortable with the level of advertising that's occurring within the magazine right now. And so they wanted to maintain.
But they're open to increasing it.
Mm-mm,
Not at this time.
no. So I should say there was no support for increasing the amount of advertising. All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Warren, seconded by trustee McGovern. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 5-1. We do not have any public hearings tonight. Are there any citizens to be heard? This is for matters not on the agenda. And I don't think we have anyone present to speak. So I'll close that and move on to new business. Item 9A, consider resolution 2026-08 regarding the Wisconsin DNR 2025 compliance maintenance annual report. So this is an annual report that comes to us and is required. Any questions, or is there a motion to approve? Yes.
I move approval of resolution 2026-08, a resolution regarding the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources NR 208-2025 compliance maintenance annual report.
Motion by trustee Arndorfer, seconded by trustee Kudo. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, voice. It'll be a roll call vote.
Trustee Warren,
Aye.
trustee Kudo,
Yes, please.
President McKay,
Aye.
trustee McGovern,
Aye.
trustee Arndorfer,
Aye.
trustee Stokebrand. Motion carry 5-0, or sorry, 6-0.
Thank you. Item 9B, consider approval of crossing guard services and memorandum of understanding for 2026 to 2029. So this is coming to us to continue this service. Motion to approve? Yes.
I was not.
Oh, trustee Stokebrand?
I'm just wondering, did we go out for an RFP?
We did an RFP last year and ACMS was the company that was contracted. At that time, we only had very few submissions. 2 only qualified. ACMS was selected. When the RFP was approved and the contract was approved by the board for the 25-26 school year, I believe it was you that asked us to consider a multi-year contract with ACMS, and that's what's before you today.
And do we know what the hourly fee? I see the $39. Is that what the company gets? And then do we know what break is?
I believe it's between $19 and $20 an hour.
Okay, trustee Warren?
Yeah, so from what I remember, this is, it was 2 qualifying bids last year.
Correct.
Yeah, and so I look at this more as an extension. I think it's good to go a few years out to get a price reduction. So I'm in support of this. And I like the fact that I know that in this space, we've had to go out for RFPs. We've had trouble getting responses. I like the idea of locking this in for 3 years because, this is a service that's very important to the community, and to have stability there is something that I fully and completely support.
Thank you.
Would you like to make a motion?
I move to approve, sorry, it's really small.
Okay.
I move to approve the contractual agreement with All City Management Services for crossing guard services until June 30th, 2029. And also, do we take them separately? There's two motions.
Okay, so I think we do. Yeah, let's take them separately. So second,
Second.
motion by trustee Warren, seconded by trustee Kudo. All those, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Second motion? Yes, trustee Stokran?
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding for crossing guard services, and I'm going to add between the village and the school, the Shorewood School District.
Is there a second?
Can I ask you a point of clarification on just the Shorewood School District? Are we excluding? I know that there's a crossing guard on Capitol and Maryland. Are we attempting to exclude that guard because it's
It-
St. Roberts or?
They've
I don't
declined to
believe-
participate
Well-
financially.
Um,
Rebecca tried.
These have been the same locations for
Yeah,
several years,
there's
and
no
they were identified in conjunction with the Shorewood School District. St. Roberts has, a couple times since I've been here, asked to, review the matter, but they have never, elected to participate
Okay.
in the contribution of the contract.
I was just looking for, because of the wording of the amendment, I was just looking for a clarification as to whether or not something changed.
no, so the memorandum of understanding is between the village and the school district. It always has been, and it is this year as well.
That's actually what the document says. It's just not in the memo, so I added it right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so, do you want to repeat? Does anyone need a repeat of the motion or can you second? Because we don't have a
I'll
second.
second.
Okay. Motion by trustee Sokbrand, seconded by trustee Kudo. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes new business. And so with that, we can move on to village reports of village officials. I do not have, oh, I have one. The work that the community campaign that culminated in a panel about domestic violence and prevention last year in October. We submitted that group, I think I've mentioned, has continued to work together to organize. And we submitted a workshop proposal to a statewide virtual summit on violence prevention. And it was accepted. And so Anjum Alden and I will be presenting, and I think Becky Rowland will join us next week. It's a free summit if anybody's interested in attending. I think that's all that I have to report. So village trustees.
I participated in the Memorial Day observation at the high school last week. It was organized by the American Legion Post 331 and the Shorewood Men's Club. So just want to thank them for that. It was a great event, really good crowd as well.
Thank you for doing that. All right, hearing none, village manager, several.
I have 3, and they're all exciting, or I believe that they're exciting. So one, which is, didn't make it in time because we don't know if the grant has been obtained or not, but you should know that Milwaukee County has submitted another Safe Streets and Roads for All grant application. And this would actually help us in the design for reconstruction of South Oakland Avenue. So South Oakland Avenue has been an area that's been identified for an area that could be in need of enhancement for pedestrian activities. And so the timeline actually lines up really good because we have always had in our plan a reconstruction schedule of 2030 on South Oakland Avenue. So the timing of this becomes helpful, right, from a funding perspective. So we just provided, President McCaig actually provided a letter of support. Again, the grant has been submitted. There's no indication of how or if it will be successful, but wanted to let you know that our staff is coordinating with the county to submit for those opportunities when they're applicable here for the village.
Would that commit us, does this commit us to
My understanding is that there will be matching funds required. However, we don't know if we're going to receive the grant, and if so, we'll be bringing it back
Right. If
to
we
you.
delay South, it'll still work.
Cross that bridge when we come.
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that tonight.
We have a timeline on when we hear back on this.
Yes, which I cannot recall off the top of my head, but I did ask that question. So let me send that to you in your Friday update.
Sounds good.
The second, are letters of intent. I put a memo with this just to kind of leave a record of where we are with it. I signed 2 letters of intent for electrical vehicle charging stations, for 2 sites here in the village. One in the Village Hall, Village Center parking lot, so behind this building, and then another in River Park, and I had prioritized them with priority number 1 being, this location between both of the municipal facilities, and then the second being at River Park. You'll have to dig back in your memory bank, but in 2023, I would update you a lot on conversations we were having with the county. I was engaging Dan a lot to take a look at some of our public sites to see where they could be well positioned to just have us think through the process of where charging stations could be. I talked to the board about how us deploying charging stations as a municipality didn't financially or from a business perspective make sense because we don't even have a place to maintain our own electric fleet, much less learn that system, and then maintain it, here in the village. But the city of Milwaukee, in our conversations, they have been looking for those opportunities. This And so we actually signed on and said, yes, if you as a city go in, and apply for a grant to actually contract with a vendor to, rent the spots, install the charging stations, have them here, and deal with the maintenance, we'd welcome an opportunity to be a part of that grant process. So 2 weeks ago, had a different meeting with the county, and they said, hey, do you have your sites? Because we want to submit it with ours to see if it would, pass the desktop review. Initially, when they applied, they only released the national grant that this was a part of, only released $1 million for design. So that's what they've been working on right now and going through their public process for those items. The other 14 million has not yet been obtained from the federal government because we had that federal funding hiccup that happened in between 23 and now, as it relates to EV infrastructure and different items that the federal government had a change of heart in terms of how they wanted to fund or support. So don't have the money at this time for construction, but they're hopeful that it may proceed because of a lawsuit that overturned funds that were designated for a statewide charging system. So that charging systems would be off and accessible off of main highways. There was a group that filed a court challenge. It was overturned, and so they were able to proceed with that program. They're hopeful that the same will happen with this grant. So again, we don't have the money yet. We're going to continue to participate in the process. Thank you, Public Works, for continuing to work with me and a lot of different opportunities that we never know when they're going to come up, but did. So we'll let you know how we rate and if it works. And if you want more, I put a lot of detail in the memo.
So basically, we're relying on the courts to force the federal government to release these funds,
Yes,
similar to how they did in a kind of
correct,
in a similar case, for lack of a better.
correct,
And this is with the city, not.
correct.
Thank
So that is interesting and kind of a good opportunity. The last one, also want to let you know that we were also approved for the lead service line community outreach grant again. If you've been keeping up with my Friday update, we're a little jealous of our North Shore Health Department contact Brooke because she is she's a heavy for getting people to comply. So she's been really helpful for the lead service line program. This would put us in, this would be the second year that program would be in play. And so just want to let you know that it's working with us in perfect timing.
Thank you.
I don't have the letter in front of me, but
Yes, it's
I would
on
trust
the,
that letter.
Yeah.
May 16th, 2026.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Concludes all reports for this evening. We do not have any future items of consideration listed. I would actually like to hold adjournment until after we determine whether we go into closed session. So is there a motion to go into closed session?
It was inadvertently put ahead of closed.
I'm happy to adjourn though.
That is
Joking.
your decision.
Okay, I move to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute Section 19.851E to deliberate or negotiate the purchasing of public properties where competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session to discuss prospective properties for a new DPW site.
Second.
This will be a roll call vote.
Trustee Arndorfer,
Aye.
trustee Kudo,
Yes.
President McCaig,
Aye.
trustee Warren,
Aye.
trustee Stokbrand,
Aye.
trustee McGovern.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, so at this time we are in closed session. We
And-
will not be taking any action out of closed session. We will just adjourn.
No.